Live from your trusted local news source, KCRG News starts now.
Well, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us tonight for the TV9 News at 6. I'm Emily Schrod. We start off tonight with something that much of eastern Iowa has been following. Of course, many people across the state have been following as well. The two Iowa National Guard soldiers who were killed in Syria earlier this month. Today, one of them was laid to rest. A visitation and funeral service took place for Staff Sergeant Nate Howard. Now, Staff Sergeant Nate Howard and Edgar Torres Tovar were, of course, killed when a lone ISIS gunman ambushed them earlier this month. A civilian interpreter was also killed. These soldiers were returned to Iowa on Wednesday during an honorable transfer. That's that video you're seeing now, people lining up to welcome them home and honor them. The funerals for both of the soldiers who were killed are open to the public. Again, today was the funeral for Nate Howard. And Staff Sergeant Torres Tovar, his visitation is on Sunday in Des Moines. His funeral is on Monday. The visitation and funeral for Staff Sergeant Howard was today in Marshalltown. Again, those are open to the public. And Christmas Eve, of course, hope everybody had a great Christmas season, but Christmas Eve is usually one of those times where people are celebrating with their family. But unfortunately, a Vinton family lost everything in a Christmas Eve fire this year. No one was home at the time, thankfully, but the fire destroyed everything that the family owned. KCRG-TV9's Brian Tabak sat down with the family, who is now trying to recover, and their community is helping them out as well to kind of get their perspective on what happened that night and how they're feeling now.
This is what's left of the Wheelers' home on the west side of Vinton. Broken windows, charred belongings, caution tape blocks the front door. Only memories remain.
Kids growing up, my parents going over. I lost my dad 3 years ago, a lot of memories of, him coming over every day.
Toby Wheeler says he, his wife, and 3 kids were at his sister's house Christmas Eve, not too far away, when he received a call from the sheriff's office.
They asked me my name and my address, and they said, your house is on fire, you need to get over there.
Wheeler says when they arrived, smoke was pouring from the house and the windows were broken out.
It was traumatizing. First day that I pulled up there and I seen that, it's like, it was traumatizing.
While the Wheelers continue to work through the unimaginable,
I've never been into anything like this.
His family quickly set up a place for people to donate. A GoFundMe page has raised nearly $9,000. More than 100 people have given money so far.
Some people I don't even know was donating, and it's just, it means a lot.
Wheeler says his family will continue to live with his sister for the time being. He says the Red Cross is also helping them get back on their feet.
They're going to help me with some financial stuff, resources for mental health resources if I need to go talk to somebody, my wife needs to go talk to somebody.
That was Brian Tabak reporting. For more information, you can head to this story at KCRG.com. And of course, the days after Christmas are spent by many returning some of those gifts, whether they don't fit, not the right color. But if you're swapping out any gifts, the Better Business Bureau has some tips to make that a little bit more stress-free. Of course, with everybody trying to do the same thing, it's going to be busy out there. Kate Kopatich with our sister station KWQC has some more details for you to try to make it as stress-free as possible.
The Better Business Bureau says a majority of consumers make at least one return each holiday season. And with so many shoppers making returns, officials with the Better Business Bureau say it pays to know the retailer's policy before you try to bring something back. Here's a few key tips that you should know to have a stress-free holiday return. First, if you did any online shopping, search for the seller's return policy. Find out if they accept returns or exchanges and who pays for the shipping when an item is returned. In some cases, the Better Business Bureau says you can save on shipping fees by returning an online purchase to the local brick and mortar store. Next up, be sure to keep your receipt and packaging. The Better Business Bureau says most stores will only accept returns and exchanges if you can present the item with its receipt and original packaging. The Better Business Bureau says returning gifts without a receipt can be tricky. If you don't have the receipt, most retailers will offer store credit or an exchange. Also, make sure you have your ID. The Better Business Bureau says many stores will ask to see your ID when you return an item so you can avoid holiday return scams. Finally, make your returns in a timely fashion. The Better Business Bureau says almost all return policies are valid during a specific time period, so don't risk missing your chance to make that return.
Some good tips for you, those of you who have to make some returns over the next couple days. And of course, during the Christmas season, lots of traveling happening, and some people traveling back to their destinations this weekend. We're going to have maybe a little bit of winter weather starting tomorrow. AJ is going to detail that coming up. Stick with us. Welcome back to the TV9 News at 6. We're joined now by meteorologist AJ Rickman. Still some people may be coming home from their Christmas holidays and everything. There's going to be a little bit of weather tomorrow.
A little bit. In fact, over the next 12 to 36 hours, it's easier to list the weather that we're not going to have compared to the weather we are going to have.
All right.
A lot going to be going on. It's already not the best travel condition out there tonight. If we have a look in our Decorah City Cam, you can see kind of hard to really see anything. It's because we've got dense fog that has rolled in, but other than the fog for right now, our temperatures aren't that bad. We're in the upper 30s and low to mid 40s across the area, quite mild for this time of year. Winds are fairly light, so if you take the fog out of the equation, really not a terrible evening. However, that fog is in place. In fact, Decorah and Charles City both have visibilities near zero, half a mile in Waterloo, Tama, a quarter mile in Fayette, and farther south and east in the far southeastern corner of the viewing area, visibilities are a little better, 2 miles in Maquoketa, 2 miles in Iowa City, but we are expecting visibilities to remain about the same, if not get worse, as we go through the overnight hours. That's why there is a dense fog advisory. It's been in effect through the day today and continues through the night tonight until noon tomorrow. So if you're driving through any of that fog, make sure that you slow down, turn on your low beams, and allow plenty of stopping and following distance for vehicles around you. Now the fog eventually wears off tomorrow, or rather it gets pushed out of our area by some strong winds that are going to be coming in. A wind advisory does go into effect tomorrow, remains in effect through Monday, so you're going to want to make sure that you are securing any outdoor objects. And for snow showers that will be moving in, those winds are going to blow the snow showers around and could lead to reduced visibility as well. Speaking of which, you'll notice areas north of Highway 20 aren't under the wind advisory. That's because they are under a winter weather advisory. That does include that risk for blowing snow from high winds. They're going to be blowing those snow showers around as they come through tomorrow. So it's all part of a fairly complex storm system that's starting to come together. But the big thing to key in on, and what's going to be the most noticeable part of this weather change tomorrow, is this cold front that is sitting off to our north and west, right there along northern Iowa, stretching back into Nebraska. Now, that cold front is going to push through tomorrow, and as it does so, bring some really big changes to our weather. Tonight, again, fairly mild, dense fog, temperatures in the 30s and 40s, pretty close to where they are right now. They might drop a degree or two, but fairly steady temperatures. Tomorrow is going to be when we start to see the change. It occurs as that front comes through. As the front passes, winds switch around to the northwest and become very gusty, looking at gusts close to or over 40 miles an hour through tomorrow afternoon, into the evening, and really through tomorrow night into Monday as well. With those strong northerly winds kicking in, we're also going to see falling temperatures. So right now is about the warmest that you're going to experience for really the next while, the next week at least. But tomorrow we start off in the 30s and 40s in the morning. Temperatures then drop quickly once that front passes. We're in the mid-30s by noon, 20s by the afternoon, then teens by the time we get to the evening. And of course, when you take those falling temperatures and throw precipitation into the mix, it's going to be a little bit of a mess as we go through the day tomorrow. So overnight tonight, quiet but foggy. Tomorrow, we start off in the morning with scattered showers across eastern Iowa. By 8 a.m., those scattered showers are hitting a good portion of the viewing area. Heaviest activity is in our southern areas, and there's a chance for a stray rumble of thunder along and south of Interstate 80. As we go through the late morning into the early afternoon, that front comes through, it pulls in the colder air with it, and that's going to change our rain over to snow. Now you'll notice that little purple strip. There's the chance for a wintry mix or even a brief period of freezing drizzle as that transition from rain to snow occurs. It's going to be very brief if it does occur, however, and ultimately we'll see a complete change over to snow by the time we get to Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. Those snow showers will be lingering through Sunday night for areas along and north of Highway 20, and then that snow tapers off by the time we get to early Monday morning. So that brings the precipitation to an end, and by the time it's all said and done, we're going to be looking at a trace to 2 inches of snow for areas south of Highway 20. The farther north you go, the better the chance for seeing some fairly significant snow accumulations. Our far northern counties could see 4 to 6 inches of snow with, again, lower amounts the farther south you go. But anywhere where snow does fall, those winds are going to be strong enough to blow it around and lead to reduced visibility. We're also going to be dealing with the chance for some freezing water on roadways. Rain comes through. As that front pushes through, temperatures will fall fast enough that we could see some liquid freezing on roadways before it can dry up. So that chance for a flash freeze is there across eastern Iowa. So again, travel with caution as you go through tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. If you can avoid being on the roads, that is of course the safest option. So the cold air comes in. By the time we get to Monday, bitter conditions are going to be in place, and that cold air stays with us really as we wrap up 2025 and step into 2026 as well. Your wind chills, again, tomorrow morning, not going to be that bad, but wind chills fall through the day on Sunday. By Monday morning, we are well below zero, and we remain fairly cold through Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. Now, we aren't going to see much in terms of precipitation chances through the rest of 2025, but again, tomorrow we'll see that rain starting in the morning, changing over to snow by the afternoon as temperatures drop, and again, going to keep things on the colder side, close to where we should be at this time of year as we wrap up 2025 and get into 2026. So tomorrow, kind of that big day to watch for if you're doing any traveling. Best to, if you can, of course, postpone it to Sunday, but be weather aware. Keep an eye on how things are looking in the morning, and also check back for forecast updates. This is an evolving situation, an evolving forecast, so we will continue to keep you updated with the latest information as we get those updates.
You know, we've got a little bit of everything going on Sunday, and I've been saying I've been ready for this fog to get out of here. It's been kind of sticking around the past couple of days, but I don't think I like the trade-off with the wind and the ice and the rain and the snow and literally everything.
Oh yeah, it is going to be kind of a brutal trade-off. And I was sitting in the weather lab today trying to think about the weather we're not going to get. We're not going to get any severe storms.
Okay.
We're not going to get any hot temperatures. And that's about all I could think of. Everything else, wind, rain, snow, chance at a wintry mix, we're going to have it all over the next 12 to 36 hours.
Yeah, just a good day to be prepared, and if you don't have to go out, definitely stay in.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, AJ. Colin's up next with sports, so stick with us. Welcome back to the TV9 News at 6. I'm Emily Sherrod, joined now by Colin Davies, and people enjoying the winter break, including the Iowa basketball team.
Yeah, that's right. They've all been enjoying it. College athletics kind of getting that break, but it's about to end because they're about to get started back up here with the Iowa men. They're going to get back underway on Monday specifically, and they've had a pretty good start to the year. They're ranked 25th in the nation, and they have one more bye game versus UMass Lowell on Monday, but then they start off their Big Ten slate. They've played a couple of those games already, but rest of the way it's going to be those Big Ten opponents. And Ben McCollum today saying that he likes what he's seen so far and feels ready for this conference grind.
We faced a lot of different challenges. Even in wins where teams ran different things, or maybe they played a little faster, a little slower, or they rebounded better. And so you start to get used to those actions. I think we've built a level of confidence through our work. And obviously your statistical rankings are good. And so that's good. So now you go into Big Ten play and all you do is play quad ones. So now it's on.
And McCollum definitely has a right to be confident going into this because they only have 2 losses. This goes for the men's and women's team. They both have 2 losses. Those 2 losses were all to top 10 opponents. Mm-hmm. So they've looked pretty good so far this season, but now's when the real challenge of that everyday grind starts in. But they played, they lost pretty badly, the 9th-ranked Michigan State, but it was that game against Iowa State, which is top 5 opponent, and they went in, they battled with the Cyclones there. So we'll see how they go into that day-to-day grind. And as for the women's team, they've got Penn State to open up, to get going in the Big Ten tomorrow, which should be a fun one for them. They're ranked 14th in the country on the women's side.
Lots of good basketball coming up.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. And one more thing as we go to hockey here, while the ECHL player strike is still going on. So the Heartlanders postponing 2 more games. They're at Bloomington. They were supposed to be at Bloomington tonight and then tomorrow, so those are postponed. Now, if you remember, yesterday was the first home game that was postponed. The ECHL and the Players Association are still looking to reach a collective bargaining agreement. You can go ahead and go to our website and kind of see the statements of what both sides released on KCRG.com. So we'll see how that progresses and when they can get back to playing hockey here shortly. And then also coming up tonight at 10, stay tuned on KCRG News at 10, because we've got a couple of we got a cool story on Dan Gable's 2 granddaughters, and they've reached a high school wrestling stage at City High. We'll tell you how the two grew up involved in wrestling and how Gable thinks that the women's part of the sport has progressed beyond what he ever thought was possible. So we'll get some unique perspective from Gable, and obviously his 2 granddaughters as well.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting story. Be sure to tune in. That's coming up tonight on the KCRG-TV9 News at 10 after football. So be sure to tune in. Colin, thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thanks for watching, and again, tune in after football tonight. Have a great rest of your night.